So welcome to year 3 in the Shamba. What I want to show you though first is the incredible sunrise here. This is Mount Meru on the left, and then Kilimanjaro is the further one there in the middle, and it's a flat top mountain. And the sun will come up just right over here. So let's begin a tour of the Shamba. I'm going to show you a couple different new places that I've been working on this past year, and then we'll go to the farm that I profiled in the first 2 years. I'm going to begin by showing you my home. This is on the back side of our property, and here's where I take my, this is a temporary home. This is my bucket bath area. I water this tree. And then I've started a succulent cactus garden back here. There's a variety of palm. Oh, check out this bird right here. This is, I can't remember the name of it, but it makes a wonderful sound in the morning. Maybe you'll grace us. Lots of different types of cactus and things, but my tent is here. Unfortunately, it started to rip because of the, I'm on the equatorial sun, and I've been camping out for 6 months, so I'm gonna have to put a tarp over it before the rain starts. But I've got a lot of different types of African succulents growing here. This is what it's, I don't know what they call it, like a flame tree. It has these wonderful red flowers. I think this is they call it kaput or something. And this is a gum tree. Another type of palm here. This will grow up into a beautiful succulent here. And here is another succulent, and if you know what this is a baobab tree. I have about 15 different, I think about 19 baobabs planted on the land, and they're all about 2 years old now. Most of them are up on the hill in that area that we'll go to next. This is a project I started with wood chips here to build this soil up into a flat area that will be a qigong yoga outdoor place, and I've planted a couple, I think 3 different lemon eucalyptus to grow alongside here that will shoo the mosquitoes away. So it'll eventually turn into a very nice flat lawn here with a little hill over there, and we'll put grass on it. I think I showed in a previous post a photo of this tree, which is called the toothbrush tree. And you can take the brushes, just break off a branch and brush your teeth with it. And it does really good things for I guess it's got microbials for the gums as well. And we recently just put some, it's like a crabgrass. Here's a papaya we planted here. Because we're watering this grass, we can just water papaya. Papayas only live for about 2 years. But you can see here we put this nice green grass that'll grow all along the tree here. So it'll be a beautiful place to come out and watch the sunset or sunrise. The sun's coming up really bright now. Typically the nights get around 60 degrees here, and then the days will peak out around 85. And it doesn't really fluctuate that much between the months of the year. What really fluctuates more is the dryness and the wetness. And here's another baobab tree. I think my biggest one is a shed that I put in along with a couple of different, these are 10,000 liter tanks of water that I've set up an entire irrigation system for watering all of the trees in the orchards. Orchards, I said. Now my original orchard is over there, which we'll take a tour of, and I've got a burn pile right here of some acacia. We'll take the ash from the acacia and put that on the banana trees. Here's a bunch of dragon fruits dragon fruit cactus that I planted. I'll go along here. I think there's around 40 of them. But what I wanted to show you here is that I started a mango orchard. It has about 50 different types of trees that are fruit bearing, and then things like neem and other trees that will help stabilize the area as far as pests and stuff go. I'm totally organic, no chemicals, and relying just upon what nature can provide. But neem trees, and this is one right here, are an excellent way to protect your mangoes. And so I have a whole new mangrove grove that I planted here that doesn't have any fertilizer either, because this land has just been pasture. So it's just naturally doing really great. And on those trees in the background there, I have passion fruits that are growing on them. I'll show you a close-up of them. This is a kumquat tree right here. I also planted a few imparachichi, a few avocados, some grafted ones. There's one right there. There's another kumquat. I think this is a Zantoni type of mango. Here's another one. This is a clove tree and a cinnamon one right here as well. So this is the mango grove, and then it goes down into an area where some citrus trees and other things are growing. So you can see the passion fruit basically just climbs right along the tree and provides these wonderful fruits. They just fall. I'll invite the Maasai kids into the property, and they'll come and pick them all up. Yeah, even when they're really ripe, the juice on them is wonderful. The only thing I've noticed that really changes is the tartness to sourness of the seeds. And then we've started a garden down here. I have millet doing really well. I've had tons of tomatoes. My tomatoes were an interesting story because here's another cinnamon. Everybody said I couldn't grow organic tomatoes here, but I would have to deal with the mice. There's one of the Maasai coming out from their boma with their piki. But I said, no, I'm not using chemicals. I don't really care. If I don't get any tomatoes, I don't get any tomatoes. But what we found out was that I had wild cats come on to the land that started living here, and mongooses as well. And these all took care of the mice problem. So that's part of the biodynamic farming exercise that I've used. And here's another garden here. Now you'll notice here this compost pile that's layered with compost, different kinds of manure, wood chips, and these I've placed around 6 of them into the garden, and they'll mature along in the orchard, and then after the next rainy season we'll empty them out into the trees as fertilizer. I don't use any chemical fertilizer either, so I'm just doing totally natural farming here. My neighbor across the street over there, he's got a cow, chickens, so I can get any kind of food I want. I had wonderful basil grown here this year that was right here, but now it's going to seed, so I need to start gathering them. So let's take a tour. If you remember the last video, I think I started with this eucalyptus tree that we planted like a year ago. So it's already grown quite a bit. Now this eucalyptus will basically take over. This is a temporary garden mostly here. So we're beginning down at the gate at the Shamba next to the road. This is an imparachichi avocado tree from Mount Meru, natural one. Bananas and daisies are doing really well here. I've had so many different types of bananas. Here's another avocado tree, a different type though, and a different type of grafted avocado that's growing here. I just got done planting papayas. I grew these from seed, and this is the irrigation line, so you can see each place has a little dripper. It's much more efficient than sending people out to water every day. So down this area I have a lot of avocado trees, and you can see the mulch that we've put onto the ground with the wood chips, and we're cutting and dropping all of the different weeds that grow. There's a couple rosemary plants that I planted here. Another avocado. Now we begin some of the mangoes that are grafted that I planted here. And there's another neem tree. Sunflowers just kind of come up regularly here. And here's another of the grafted mangoes. You can see how well this is doing. Just terrific growth this year. I didn't realize that you need to pick off the small mangoes in order for the trees to put all their energy into the growth instead of those tiny mangoes that are on the grafted ones. But this one produced around 20 fruits this year. It's just a natural champagne mango. Another avocado tree. Then I have a couple of these almond trees that are growing. This area is going to become quite crowded, but then we'll just employ the syntropic farming method of weeding things out that aren't producing and leaving the best producers in. So that you don't have much attachment to what you're growing with the syntropic model. You can see this area is very crowded, most conventional farmers would say, but over time we'll just figure out what works best. And obviously it's not stopping the growth from happening now, even though it has a pine tree in it, and people say maybe the problems come later, but then we just deal with them. Everything we cut down just becomes mulch, food for the continued growth of other things. There's some cassava growing next to mulberry trees. And I have a lot of these plants here growing that are pigeon pea. So these are nitrogen fixers that will grow for a season and a half. So they're just now maturing. They'll begin to fall over like this one. Now begins a portion of the orchard that I have some citrus trees growing. And some of them are beginning to have fruits now. I think this one over here. These are all mostly natural ones, not grafted, so they take around 4 years to start producing. But once they do really well. These are some natural limes. Good bunch. It's coming up. So these citrus trees are all along here, along with a couple of guavas that I have somewhere in here. Just mixed in with the bananas, and then I've added some palm trees as well. So here's one of those fertilizer bins. You can see it's already sunk down quite a bit. And it'll continue, and then around 9 months from now, after this rain start for the next season, here's a different type of mulberry tree that I have, which I cut back all the way, and it's just totally grown. I'm just using it as mulch mostly, spreading it out and letting it form sort of a berm, because eventually like the water that's going to be coming down here during the rainy season is just a ton. So I want to try to stop as much as possible. So I put in like these, you can see this berm here for these swell type things. Here's a guava tree that's just loaded. So these are all starting to come up now. Here's a fig tree that's just beginning. Another palm tree I have planted here. Struggling at first. We just started the dry season, or we just began the rainy season. So here's another fig tree that's doing quite well. You can see all the fruits that are coming up. So no complaints here with the figs. And this is a Meyer lemon tree. So the yellow type of one, it's grafted. It's growing very well. It's 2 years old. Another banana plant. They have probably like the cooking bananas, and then the sweet bananas, and then the regular ones that you can eat raw too. The pigeon peas, I had read that they get to be about 12 feet, and I thought, well, not in my land, but they certainly have. This is I have a number of these. These are peaches, which grow really small. They're kind of tiny, but the birds love them, so you have to kind of grab them before the birds. And then here's a sapote tree here. I have another one which I just passed up that's smaller that I just started, which is the yellow one. And I believe this is the white one. But we'll kind of have to see what happens with the fruits that come. And here's a pomegranate tree. You can see some pomegranates that are doing well here. Now this one I had treated with, so I'm doing mixtures with sand and ash to change some of the soil here, which lacks phosphorus. So it needs a lot of mulch, but then there's other things that are needed for certain types of trees to grow. I love this mango here. I mean, this papaya. It's a really small one, you can see, and already producing really well. So most of the seeds that I've started for the next 50 that I'm going to plant are from that one. Here is a, what do they call this? An oyster nut, I think. You have the fruit here that you cut out, and then you have to take out all the flesh, and then within it you'll find a little disc that you pop off the seed from after you draw, and that will be the nut that you can eat. And this is a moringa tree. You can see here the fruits that are coming with the seeds. Lots of them. It's loaded. So a macadamia is doing quite well. This is now 3 years old. One of the original ones I planted, along with a soursop. I did see a soursop fruit. So on one of the other ones, this tiny one, I don't know if any are coming up on this one or not yet. I don't see any. So my soursops take around 3 years too. Here's a pineapple guava. It's a guava basically without seeds. And then here I have another citrus row. These are all from seeds. So navel oranges, pixie oranges. I started a couple different limes. They're doing really well. And then I planted a bunch of the small papaya in here too that are just starting to take off. I got to show you my lime tree. I tried 4 times in a row while I was coming here to start a lime tree, and this time I got 1 seed to come, and it's doing terrific. So I'm really quite pleased with that. Here's the lime tree. Very nice, huh? And this is a, what do they call this? I think it's called a Persian lime. That's a very nice tree as well. And these are a couple of eucalyptus, lemon eucalyptus that I've planted as well here. Surprisingly, lemon eucalyptus and banana trees do quite well together. So we'll see how that goes. So that's a tour of my orchard as it sits for year 3, and things have turned down quite a bit since when I arrived last August, and I found a bunch of maize all throughout the orchard. All the ground tilled and everything uprooted. So it's been a lot of education, and I wound up finding a Maasai person who speaks English and has some background in agriculture, and he's been able to watch some of the videos that I've watched on, especially on soil, and how to cultivate your soil to where you don't have problems with pests or insects or anything like that, because nature will take care of it. And if a tree struggles for a number of years, eventually it'll pop out of it, and or otherwise you can just start over with another one. So all my shade trees are along this side here, along the road, where 2 years ago I had chopped down all the acacia that had lived along this road, because all the roots had become so invasive. And they're all doing really wonderful. Just a bunch of different native type of, mostly evergreen trees, so they provide shade year round. I think this is actually a native cedar that's coming up here, next to the tree I talked about earlier that has red flowers. That's that one. So you can see here we've put wood chips on the road, just trying to cut down the amount of water flow that comes down and make it go over to that way. The trees are doing really well here for the shade ones. I can show you here is the sapote I was talking about that I started, which is the white one. I started by seed this year, and it's got little shade things on it here, but you can see it right here. It's doing really well. It's coming up nicely now. We built this little makeshift shade wall because the sun was just scorching it. All right, that's my Shamba. Hi, Badai. Sante. This is my guard. Just taking off now. He watches the place during the night. He has a hut on the other side. He belongs to the family that I bought this 1 acre of farmland from. And the other 3 acres I bought is from a expat. So sun gazing is such a wonderful way to start off the day. It's like giving light energy food to your body that excels anything else you can eat, like eggs from the chickens. My neighbor across the way has fresh raw milk every morning too.